Hawker 850X PI. Questions. Hydraulics. Normal pressure of two engine-driven hydraulic pumps.
3000 psi. 1500 psi plus 1500 psi.
Location of hydraulic reservoir.
Rear equipment bay.
Purpose of hydraulic accumulators.
Provide pressure to the emergency brake and thrust reverser operation in case of main system failure.
Capacity of hydraulic reservoir.
9.1 liters.
How is the reservoir pressurized?
Low pressure bleed air from the engines or an external connection.
Purpose of pressurized reservoir.
To ensure a continuous supply of fluid to the engine-driven pumps.
What is the air pressure reduction in the reservoir?
From 120 psi to 15 more or less 1 psi. Air pressure reducing valve.
When does the outward relief valve open?
If reservoir air pressure exceeds 18 more or less 1 psi, to relieve the excess pressure to atmosphere.
And when does it close?
When the pressure drops to 15 psi.
Hydraulic overheat light.
Fluid temperature 90 degrees Celsius. The switch is located at the bottom of reservoir.
What happens when the suction filter clogs?
The pressure relief valve opens when the pressure reaches 4 to 6 psi to bypass the filter.
The purpose of junction block.
Split the simple suction line into two lines. One to each hydraulic pump.
Before reaches the hydraulic pump, what is the path of hydraulic fluid?
Through the mechanically operated supply valve.
Why is the supply valve mechanically operated?
Because is mechanically connected to the high-pressure fuel cock central cabs.
What are the engine-driven pumps like?
They are 7-cylinder, variable capacity units.
Pressure provided by the engine-driven pumps.
3000 more or less 100 psi.
Location of engine-driven pumps.
It is on the forward face of the accessory gearbox next to the starter generator.
Purpose of pressure switch.
Monitor hydraulic pump output pressure.
Hydraulic low pressure light.
If pump's output pressure drops below 1500 more or less 50 psi, the pressure switch closes. After 57 seconds.
When does the hydraulic low pressure light turns off?
When the pressure returns to 1850 at least.
Purpose of full flow relief valves.
Protect the hydraulic system from excessive pump pressure.
When do the full flow relief valves open?
When the pressure reaches 3750 psi, sending fluid back to reservoir.
When do they close?
At 400 to 625 psi.
During a noisy malfunction of hydraulic pump, opening and closing fast, what should have been done if the reduction of power thrust doesn't solve the problem?
The pump should be identified and the respective engine should be shut.
What is the last element before the fluid reaches the accumulators and actuators?
Pressure filter.
Purpose of the differential pressure indicator, DPI.
As the filter doesn't have bypass, DPI provides a visual indication of the filter clogging.
Into how many pressure lines the fluid is splitted after passing through the pressure manifold?
Into 4 lines to supply the various systems.
Which systems have non-return valves?
Emergency braking system and thrust reverser pressure supply lines.
Location of ground servicing hand pump.
Rear equipment bay.
Location of pressure maintaining valve.
Between the pressure manifold and normal braking system. This is the end of video number 1, Questions, Hydraulics, Part 1.